Hypothesis. Proposed explanation for a phenomenon. Premise. Supposition. Assumption. The principle is based on the hypothesis that all males are born equal. Evolution. The gradual development of plants and animals. Growth. Modification. Adaptation. Natural selection is a fundamental element of Darwin's theory of evolution. Adaptation. Adjustment to environmental conditions. Modification. Change. Acclimatization. The process of adaptation to a new habitat is difficult for some animal species. Experiment. Test done in order to learn something. Analysis. Investigation. Assessment. The results of this experiment do not correlate with the results of earlier ones. Renewable energy. Energy that is derived from the sun, wind, or water. Solar power. Wind power. Hydropower. Nowadays, the cost of solar, wind and other forms of renewable energy is getting cheaper. Heredity. Passing on traits from parents to their offspring. Genetics. Ancestry. Inheritance. The ethical characters of people are formed not by heredity but by surroundings. Biodiversity. Describe the enormous variety of life on Earth. Species diversity. Ecodiversity. Genetic diversity. The invasive species can pose a threat to biodiversity by altering ecosystems. Procedure. A particular way of doing something. Methodology. Formula. Approach. Rigorous validation and quality control procedures have been imposed throughout the research. Nuclear power. Power generated by a nuclear reactor. Atomic energy. Atomic power. Fission power. All commercial nuclear power is provided by fission at the present time. Evaporation. Process of turning from a liquid into vapor. Dissipation. Fading. Vanishing. The cooling effect is initiated by the evaporation of sweat on the skin. Detention. The arrest or imprisonment of someone. Imprisonment. Incarceration. Confinement. Arbitrary arrests and detention without trial were common in the past. Pseudoscience. Theory that is not formed in a scientific way. Wizardry. Black magic. Witchcraft. Pseudoscience has a nasty habit of reaching into every walk of life and infecting every discussion. Geothermal energy. Energy that generates when the temperature rises. Heat energy. Thermal energy. Internal energy. Because it comes from inside the Earth, geothermal energy is a renewable energy source. Momentum. The force or speed of an object in motion. Impetus. Propulsion. Driving force. The spacecraft will fly around the Earth to gain momentum for its trip to Jupiter. Conservation. Careful preservation and protection of something. Preservation. Protection. Maintenance. In many parts of the world, water conservation is essential during the summer months. Empirical. Based on observation or experience. Pragmatic. Realistic. Applied. Empirical studies indicate that some forms of alternative medicine are really effective. Conservation. The protection of animals, plants, and natural resources. Preservation. Saving. Safeguarding. Energy conservation reduces our fuel bills and helps to save the environment. Depletion. Reduction in the amount or number of something. Reduction. Lessening. Exhaustion. Increased consumption of water has led to the quick depletion of groundwater reserves. Navigation. The act of directing ships and aircrafts from different places. Maneuvering. Piloting. Gliding. In the past, navigation depended on a knowledge of the positions of the stars. Wavelength. The distance between two waves of energy. Frequency. Density. Magnitude. Sunlight consists of different wavelengths of radiation at different times. Harness. To control something in order to use its power. Utilize. Make use of. Leverage. Researchers have known how to harness the limitless power of the sun. Microorganisms. An organism that is microscopic or submicroscopic. Pathogens. Bacteria. Parasites. Algae microorganisms colonize the water because of the surplus nitrogen. Topography. A detailed map of the surface features of land. Landscape. Geography. Terrain. The latest aerial cameras are capable of capturing the Earth's topography from space. Meteorology. Meteorology is the study of our atmosphere. Climatology. Weather science. Aerology. Meteorology students focus on the forecast of atmospheric movement and climate change. Fossil fuels. Made from decomposing plants and animals. Gasoline. Kerosene. Petrol. In recent times, the agriculture industry has become a major fossil fuel energy user. Chain reaction. A chemical reaction produces energy. Domino effect. Repercussion. Aftermath. The powder immediately ignited and set off a chain reaction of explosions. Forfeiture. The loss of property as a penalty for wrongdoing. Seizure. Confiscation. Taking away. Because of gambling, he was deep in debt and facing the forfeiture of his property. Germination. The process of seed starting to grow. Sprouting. Maturation. Flourishing. Seed germination is a crucial process that depends on climatic conditions. Reservoir. An artificial lake where something is stored. Reserve. Accumulation. Storage. The oil is pumped up from a deep underground reservoir for commercial usage. Observation. An act of noticing or perceiving. Inspection. Examination. Study. Most information was collected by direct observation of the animal's conduct. Extinction. A situation in which something no longer exists. Obliteration. Destruction. Extermination. Extinction of the species happened after poachers killed many of the animals. Perennial. A plant that lives for several years. Enduring. Year by year. Continuing. The documentary's central theme is the perennial conflict between animal species. Windmill. A wind-driven electric generator. Wind generator. Wind turbine. Propeller. Windmills generate electricity for the local community by harnessing the power of the wind. Metabolism. All the chemical processes in living body. Digestion. Absorption. Consumption. We should always consume sufficient calories to keep the metabolism resilient. Emissions. Something that has been emitted or released. Discharges. Ejections. Exhausts. Industrialized countries must take action to reduce their carbon emissions. Reproduction. The act or process of producing babies. Breeding. Conception. Procreation. In human reproduction, one female egg is generally fertilized by one sperm. Inference. Opinions based on information. Conclusion. Deduction. Judgment. The teacher asked the students to draw an inference based on the statistics. Furnace. A place characterized by intense heat. Incinerator. Fireplace. Chimney. Coal from the valleys is used in furnaces and converted to electricity for power station. Contamination. The process of making something dirty or poisonous. Infection. Degradation. Pollution. There is already a high level of environmental contamination from radioactive waste. Biofuels. Fuel that is derived from plants and animals. Biogases. Biomass. Clean energy. He needs to find alternative biofuels to replace conventional petroleum products. Forensic. Related to scientific methods of solving crimes. Judicial. Magisterial. Scientific. Forensic experts have been searching the area for clues about the murderer. Blackout. A period of darkness caused by a failure. Disruption. Electric failure. Outrage. In many counties, people face electricity blackout for several hours regularly. Global warming. A gradual increase in the Earth's temperature. Global heating. Climate change. Climate crisis. A rising level of greenhouse gas emissions is associated with an increased risk of global warming. Drilling. The process of extracting materials from the earth. Mining. Excavation. Tunneling. The mining of gold and silver was not essentially different from the drilling of oil. Asteroid. Millions of small celestial objects orbit the Sun. Fireball. Meteorite. Comet. New evidence supports the theory that the dinosaurs were wiped out by an asteroid. Kilowatt. A kilowatt is a unit of power. Power unit. Megawatt. Voltage. It takes about a kilowatt per person to maintain a high standard of living. Aquifer. An underground layer of water bearing. Groundwater. Reservoir. Fountain. Deforestation has been accelerated while underground aquifers are being exhausted. Suspect. To think or believe that someone is guilty. Offender. Perpetrator. Lawbreaker. The police were able to obtain a set of fingerprints from the suspect. Sustainable. Able to continue over a period of time. Viable. Maintainable. Reliable. The government should do more to promote a sustainable electricity supply. Renewable energy. Energy comes from natural sources or processes. Solar energy. Wind energy. Hydropower. Renewable energy is energy produced by wind, sun, and other sources that will never run out. Carbon footprint. The total emission volume of greenhouse gas. Pollution. Contamination. Fumes. We can thus make a more environmentally friendly choice and reduce their carbon footprint. Mitigation. Reducing the force or intensity of something. Alleviation. Relief. Lessening. The environmental problem is complex, and its mitigation will require extensive measures. Crude oil. Petroleum comes from the ground, before refining. Natural gas. Rock oil. Fossil oil. Because of the shipwreck, thousands of gallons of crude oil were spilled into the ocean. Flora. All the plant life present in a particular region. Vegetation. Foliage. Plant life. The province contains rich areas of biodiversity of a range of flora and fauna. Methane. The main constituent of natural gas. Hydrocarbon. Petroleum. Propane. Methane is considered one of the principal gases contributing to the greenhouse effect. Probation. A period of supervision over an offender. Evaluation. Appraisal. Assessment. He was found guilty of manslaughter and put on probation for 2 years. Utilities. Public services such as gas, water, or electricity. Services. Facilities. Resources. Gas and electricity are vital utilities and they should be taken back into public ownership. Husbandry. The cultivation or production of plants or animals. Farming. Agronomy. Agriculture. Grasslands provide more scope for combining conservation and livestock husbandry. Green energy. Any energy type that is generated from natural resources. Raw energy. Fresh energy. Clean energy. Environmentalists would like to see fossil fuels replaced by green energy sources. Telescope. An instrument that is used to view distant objects. Spyglass. Optical prism. Magnifier. Using a telescope, Galileo discovered stars that were invisible to the naked eye. Entropy. A measure of randomness or disorder of a system. Disorder. Collapse. Turmoil. The idea of entropy comes from a principle of thermodynamics dealing with energy. Recycling. Process of converting waste into reusable material. Reutilizing. Reprocessing. Regenerating. Recycling helps control environmental pollution by reducing the need for waste dumps. Plaintiff. A person who brings a legal action. Petitioner. Appellant. Prosecutor. When the judge dismissed the case against the fast food chain, the plaintiff was outraged. Poaching. Catching and killing of animals without permission. Killing illegally. Hunting. Intruding. Poaching poses a huge threat to the survival of the rare animals in our environment. Inhospitable. Places are not easy or comfortable to live in. Adverse. Unfavorable. Miserable. The inhospitable conditions led to the extinction of Earth species, including the dinosaurs. Verdict. An official judgment made in court. Resolution. Punishment. Settlement. The lawyer suspected that the judge was bribed to arrive at a guilty verdict. Ecology. The relationship of living things to their environment. Biosphere. Ecosphere. Natural world. Chemicals in the factory sewage system have disrupted the ecology of the whole area. Observatory. A position or building that gives an extensive view. Watchtower. Beacon. Lookout. The Royal Greenwich Observatory was established to observe and catalogue the stars. Fossil fuel. Fossil fuels are the fuels formed by natural processes. Gasoline. Crude oil. Natural gas. In recent times, the agriculture industry has become a major fossil fuel energy user. Detective. A police officer who investigates crimes. Investigator. Scrutinizer. Police officer. The detective questioned literally hundreds of people about the crime incident. Emission. A substance that goes into the air. Discharge. Radiation. Transmission. Transport causes the emission of carbon dioxide, which in turn causes global climate changes. Extinction. A situation in which something no longer exists. Annihilation. Elimination. Abolition. Animal extinction is caused by many factors, including the destruction of habitats. Erosion. The process of eroding or being eroded by wind, water. Corrosion. Weathering. Decomposition. Experts believe that poor farming methods have contributed to increased soil erosion. Conviction. Court's decision that someone is guilty. Adjudication. Sentence. Decree. Because of his previous conviction, the judge refused to grant bail. Logging. An act of cutting down trees on a large scale. Deforestation. Chopping. Cutting down trees. People are cutting down thousands of acres of rainforest through illegal logging. Celestial. Relating to the sky, or outside this world. Heavenly. Extraterrestrial. Planetary. Angels are said to be celestial creatures that help guide humans through worrying times. Eco-friendly. Earth-friendly or not harmful to the environment. Environment-friendly. Viable. Green. The new policy would not only be efficient but would also be eco-friendly. Hearsay. Information that is not substantiated, rumor. Invalid. Unofficial. Groundless. The judgment of the copyright violation was based on hearsay rather than evidence. Fauna. All of the animal life present in a particular region. Animals. Creatures. Wild animals. Flora and fauna, in particular birds, are the victims of oil and other forms of pollution. Consumerism. The act that promotes the acquisition of goods. Materialism. Avarice. Capitalism. The world is based on consumerism. The economy relies on the hustle and bustle of sales. Carcinogen. A substance that is likely to cause cancer. Deadly chemical. Health hazard. Poison. All are highly carcinogenic. Plutonium is one of the deadliest substances known in the environment. Penalty. A punishment for doing something wrong. Punishment. Correction. Retribution. The extreme penalty of the law in some countries is the death penalty. Sovereignty. Supreme power, or authority. Supremacy. Domination. Control. Talks are being held about who should have sovereignty over the island. Supernova. A powerful and luminous explosion of a star. Blank space. Dark matter. Cosmic dust. A single supernova can outshine an entire galaxy of stars and leave stunning remnants. Amendment. An official change made to a law or contract. Correction. Modification. Revision. The amendment will remove the inconsistency between the two laws. Espionage. Secretly collecting and reporting information. Spying. Surveillance. Secret Service. Espionage is a secret way of finding out what your enemy doesn't want you to know. Constitution. The set of political principles. Body of law. Regulations. Ordinance. The present Constitution gives supreme authority to the presidency. Contamination. The process of making something dirty or poisonous. Adulteration. Poisoning. Pollution. Many people are still suffering ill effects from the contamination of their water. Ally. A country that supports and helps another. Associate. Comrade. Supporter. He is generally considered to be the Prime Minister's closest political ally. Poaching. Illegal hunting or capturing of wild animals. Hunting. Killing illegally. Intruding. Poaching poses a huge threat to the survival of the rare animals in the forests. Arbitration. The use of a negotiator to settle a dispute. Adjudication. Mediation. Negotiation. The president finally agreed to go to arbitration as a way of ending the strike. Wavelength. The distance between two waves of energy. Visible light. Frequency. Amplitude. For example, red light has a longer wavelength than green, and green than blue. Bureaucracy. A system for controlling or managing a country. Administration. Hierarchy. Mechanism. We need to reduce paperwork and bureaucracy in the legal department. Assassination. The murder of someone famous or important person. Manslaughter. Homicide. Slaying. The president travels with security so that no one can assassinate him from the crowd. Communism. A political and economic system. Collectivism. Socialism. Laborism. We had felt that the collapse of communism would automatically lead to democracy. Deforestation. The cutting down of trees in a large area. Logging. Uncovering. Desertification. Producing paper encourages deforestation and other negative environmental impacts. Veto. To refuse to allow something. Rejection. Boycott. Embargo. The Ministry of Defence has the power of veto over all British arms exports. Delinquency. Crimes, especially committed by young people. Misbehavior. Wrongdoing. Misdeeds. The research clearly demonstrates the link between juvenile delinquency and child abuse. Sanction. Official permission or approval for an action. Permission. Endorsement. Validation. No decision can be taken without the sanction of the government regulatory body. Constellation. A group of stars in the sky. Stars. Cluster. Stellar system. When a cluster of stars appears in a recognizable shape, it is referred to as a constellation. Confederation. A union of sovereign groups. Federation. Association. Union. The two countries made up a confederation to build a mutual relationship. Defendant. A person who is being sued or accused. Respondent. Appellant. Litigant. The defendant hired an experienced lawyer to defend against the plaintiff's accusations. Referendum. A direct vote by the electorate on a proposal. Public vote. Ballot. Opinion poll. The referendum showed beyond doubt that voters wanted independence. Vulnerable. Capable of being physically or emotionally attacked. Susceptible. Unprotected. At risk. People from coastal areas are particularly vulnerable to natural calamities. Democracy. A system of government with freedom and equality. Self-rule. Autonomy. Independence. Our Constitution embodies all the fundamental principles of democracy. Rehabilitation. To restore to good health or useful life after a crime. Improvement. Correction. Betterment. The main goal of the juvenile justice system is rehabilitation rather than punishment. Manifestation. The public display of emotion or feeling. Exhibition. Indication. Presentation. This latest outbreak of violence is a clear manifestation of discontent in the city. Eclipse. When the sun, earth, or moon cross paths and cover each other. Blocking. Covering. Shading. While we were learning about the lunar eclipse, we viewed many astronomy documentaries. Autocracy. A system of government by one person. Despotism. Absolutism. Fascism. A country is an autocracy that is controlled solely by a member of the royal family. Deterrence. Preventing people from criminal behavior. Obstruction. Impediment. Prevention. Many experts argue that deterrence is no longer the best way to prevent serious crimes. Invasion. Invading a country or region with an armed force. Intrusion. Encroachment. Trespass. Britain and France declared war on Germany as a result of the invasion of Poland. Sustainability. The ability to be maintained at a certain rate. Survivability. Durability. Tolerability. Education should promote sustainability within a diversity of cultures and ethnicity. Bilateral. Involving two groups, or countries. Reciprocal. Collective. Cooperative. France and Germany have signed a bilateral agreement to help prevent drug smuggling. Abuse. Cruel and violent treatment of a person or animal. Maltreatment. Violence. Bullying. In many cases, abuse can lead to both psychological and emotional problems. Regime. The ruling government of a country. Tenure. Dynasty. Reign. The military regime has promised to restore democracy soon. Corona. A usually colored circle is seen around the sun. Radiance. Circle of light. Crown of light. That study enables astronomers to compare stellar coronae with the solar corona. Totalitarianism. A government that prohibits all opposition parties. Authoritarianism. Dictatorship. Oppression. Many extreme right wings have been accused of practicing totalitarianism. Victim. Someone who has been hurt or killed. Sufferer. Scapegoat. Hostage. Every year, millions of people fall victim to people traffickers and people smugglers. Legislation. Set of laws suggested by a government. Laws. Bills. Charters. The government has promised to introduce legislation to limit fuel emissions from cars. Monopoly. Complete control of something. Domination. Suppression. Authority. During each wartime, the monopoly capitalists amassed a tremendous amount of wealth. Tyranny. A state under an oppressive government. Reign of terror. Dystopia. Subjugation. Freedom from tyranny is an essential principle we should always defend. Conservation. The act of protecting Earth's natural resources. Preservation. Maintenance. Saving. Because we want to help with energy conservation, we use solar panels to power our house. Algorithm. Procedure for solving a mathematical problem. Procedure. Program. Set of rules. In recent times, a computer algorithm can classify people according to their behavior. Inflation. Increase in prices over a given period. Economic decline. Depression. Standstill. Now, reducing inflation is fundamental to the government's economic strategy. Revolutionize. Change something radically or fundamentally. Upgrade. Modernize. Originate. The mobile phone has revolutionized the concept of communication technology. Satellite. A device sent up into space to travel around the Earth. Spacecraft. Rocket. Spaceship. Launching the first satellite was much more difficult than the space team had expected. Innovative. Featuring new methods, advanced and original. Creative. Pioneering. Ingenious. Many companies are focusing on manufacturing a range of innovative lightweight products. Hierarchy. The organizational structure of a company. Ranking. Ordering. Grouping. A new management hierarchy was created within the company recently. Alignment. The correct positioning of something. Arrangement. Positioning. Sequence. We need to make sure the proper alignment of technology in our day-to-day life. Fossil fuel. Fuels are made from decomposing plants and animals. Petrol. Gasoline. Kerosene. A major cause of climate change is the burning of fossil fuels to create energy. User-friendly. A device or system that is easy to use or understand. Foolproof. Comprehensible. Easy to use. We are continually looking to improve the technology and make it more user-friendly. Negotiations. A method by which people settle conflicts. Discussion. Argument. Consultation. Many companies have developed a practical method of customer negotiations. Indispensable. Incapable of being disregarded or neglected. Essential. Necessary. Imperative. Modern computers will be an indispensable diagnostic tool for the medical industry. Horizon. The line where the Earth seems to meet the sky. Skyline. Background. Boundary. Scientists gather data about the meteors falling down to the horizon to define their speed. Gadget. Useful small tool or piece of equipment. Device. Appliance. Apparatus. We have been taking advantage of electronic gadgets more than ever before. Outsourcing. Hire a third party to perform tasks. Subcontracting. Deploying. Delegating. Outsourcing has become a regular operating procedure in a wide range of organizations. Breakthrough. The sudden increase in knowledge and technology. Advancement. Development. Headway. We have been experiencing a breakthrough in the realm of information technology. Poaching. The illegal hunting or capturing of wild animals. Hunting. Killing illegally. Intruding. Animal conservationists think poaching poses a huge threat to the survival of rare animals. Encryption. The process of converting information into a code. Coding. Secret writing. Programming. Data encryption ensures the privacy and confidentiality of email messages. Stagnation. A long period of slow economic growth. Inactivity. Unproductivity. Downturn. Poor economic policies led to a long period of stagnation and failure. Robotics. The science of making and using robots. Artificial intelligence. Simulation. Cybernetics. Electronics companies have been making robotic toys that can imitate people and dogs. Luminosity. The state of producing or reflecting bright light. Brightness. Splendor. Fluorescence. The luminosity of the stars thus has nothing to do with their warming. Automation. Describes machines replacing human action. Modernization. Mechanization. Electronics. Experts believe that technological automation will continue to take jobs from humans. Laid off. Permanent removal from a job. Redundant. Dismissed. Out of work. The whole labor force was laid off and a fresh one was promptly hired. Framework. An essential supporting structure of an object. Structure. Configuration. Composition. The software provides a general framework for understanding computer programming. Hazard. An unavoidable danger, or risk. Jeopardy. Endangerment. Peril. Growing levels of pollution represent a serious health hazard to the local community. Satellite. Device sent up into space to travel around the Earth. Spaceship. Spacecraft. Rocket. Satellites are fundamentally helping meteorologists to predict weather patterns. Capitalism. An economic system based on the private ownership. Free market. Open market. Free trade. This book is concerned primarily with our present economic system and capitalism. Integration. Combining or adding parts to make a unified whole. Incorporation. Unification. Combination. The technical integration of different tech companies is expected to lead to a better outcome. Nebula. A giant cloud of dust and gas in space. Rain cloud. Exhaust fumes. Fogginess. It is estimated that a single nebula is immense, hundreds of light-years in diameter. Patent. An exclusive right granted for an invention. Licensed. Proprietary. Trademarked. If we don't patent our invention, other people may make all the profit out of it. Entrepreneurship. Skill in starting new businesses. Self-starter. Go-getter. Undertaker. The new business opportunities have encouraged entrepreneurship on a grand scale. Mechanism. A system of parts working together in a machine. Equation. Formulation. Methodology. The watch mechanism is extremely intricate and very challenging to repair. Biodiversity. Describe the enormous variety of life on Earth. Diversity of life. Variety. Diverseness. The ocean has the highest level of biodiversity, with the widest array of species calling it home. Cutting edge. Using the most advanced and developed methods. Sophisticated. Painstaking. High-tech. Computers have brought cutting-edge technology into the classroom. Benchmarking. Process of measuring products and services. Evaluating. Appraising. Reviewing. The management is planning to launch a benchmarking scheme to guide consumers. Cybersecurity. The protection of Internet-connected systems. Computer security. Network security. They develop cybersecurity products for government agencies and enterprises. Gravity. The force that attracts a body towards the center of the Earth. Attraction. Potency. Intensity. Although gravity pulls objects to the center of the Earth, this force is not present on the Moon. Obsolete. No longer produced or used, out of date. Antiquated. Outdated. Outmoded. The advancement of information technology is making many of our jobs obsolete. Liabilities. Being legally responsible for something. Obligations. Debts. Deficit. This new administration system was created with zero assets and zero liabilities. Database. An organized collection of related data or information. Archive. Catalog. Record. Fingerprints are scanned and stored in a virtual database that is only accessible to police. Biodegradable. Decaying naturally, which is not harmful to the environment. Decomposable. Perishable. Eco-friendly. Since biofuels are made with biodegradable matter, they are less toxic than fossil fuels. Influencer. Person who uses social media to sell products. Promoter. Supporter. Spokesperson. Nowadays, we have been experiencing the popularity of influencers on social media. Bankruptcy. When a business is unable to pay debts. Insolvency. Crash. Failure. In recent times, bankruptcy has now been a common phenomenon in the business industry. Bias. A preference for one thing over another. Favoritism. Unfairness. One-sidedness. News reporters must be impartial in publishing news and not show political bias. Rotation. The action of rotating about an axis or center. Revolution. Spinning. Revolving. It takes 24 hours for the Earth to complete its rotation and go in one circle on its axis. Censorship. Prohibition of any parts of books, films, or news. Banning. Suppression. Restriction. In countries ruled by dictators, censorship has limited the public's access to music and movies. Royalties. Payment for intellectual property. Commission. Premium. Percentage. The royalties allowed the inventor to re-establish himself in the business environment. Trend. Currently popular, especially on social media. Prevailing. Fashionable. Well-liked. Lately, there has been a trend toward hiring younger, cheaper employees. Organic. Being or coming from living plants and animals. Biological. Natural. Chemical-free. Eating organic food reduces one's chances of developing certain types of cancers. Mainstream. Accepted by the largest number of people. Conventional. Regular. Ordinary. The media accused the mainstream political parties of negatively exploiting this situation. Recession. A prolonged downturn in the economy. Negative growth. Decline. Bust. During the recession, many enterprises found it difficult to continue their business. Cybercrime. Criminal activity that is done using the internet. Violation. Law breaking. Hate crime. With cybercrime, we have a situation where new forms of crime are being created. Universe. The sum of everything that exists in the cosmos. Whole world. Outer space. Infinity. Early astronomers thought that our planet was the center of the universe. Editorial. Newspaper article in which editor gives opinion. Commentary. Critique. Coverage. They hope their editorial will provoke readers into thinking seriously about the issue. Allowance. Money allotted for a particular purpose. Allotment. Contribution. Donation. The bonuses of the job include a company pension scheme and a generous travel allowance. Endorsement. The action of supporting someone or something. Approval. Authorization. Backing. Many retired players are able to make a lot of money by doing product endorsements. Recycling. Process of converting waste into reusable material. Reusing. Reprocessing. Converting. Recycling helps control environmental pollution by reducing the need for waste dumps. Propaganda. Information, especially of a biased or misleading nature. Misinformation. Promotion. Hype. The party adopted an aggressive propaganda campaign against its rivals. Commodity. Something that is bought and sold. Goods. Products. Article of trade. Agricultural commodities like grain and corn oil are in high demand in the local market. Plagiarism. The practice of stealing someone else's work or ideas. Copying. Infringement. Piracy. Students are particularly vulnerable to dangerous practices such as plagiarism. Epoch. A long period of time in the Earth's development. Point of history. Millennium. Generation. As a result of the scientists' discoveries, an epoch of satellite manipulation was triggered. Emergence. The process of coming into existence or prominence. Extension. Advancement. Progression. It also saw the emergence of many new trends that have not been seen before. Heat waves. A continuous period of very hot weather. Droughts. Hot spells. Swelter. More frequent and more severe heat waves will lead to more heat-related deaths. Diffusion. The action of spreading in many directions. Transmission. Penetration. Entrance. Through the process of cultural diffusion, people adopt the practices of their neighbors. Deregulation. The removal of controls in a particular area of business. Liberalization. Neutrality. Inaction. On economy and business issues, however, deregulation has been an unmitigated disaster. Cyberbullying. Harassing with the use of digital technologies. Online harassment. Bullying. Maltreatment. Most cyberbullying often goes unreported as the victim feels nothing can be done. Black hole. A place where things apparently disappear without a trace. Emptiness. Great void. Vacuum. Radio signals received from the galaxy's center back up the black hole theory. Dissemination. An act of broadcasting message to the public. Circulation. Spreading. Distribution. With encyclopedias in every classroom, we can disseminate information to all students. Consumerism. Increasing consumption of goods. Materialism. Commercialism. Altruism. The acceleration of modernism began with the start of modern consumerism. Racism. The belief that people of some races are inferior to others. Prejudice. Intolerance. Bigotry. In recent times, the authorities are taking steps to combat racism in schools. Erosion. Removal of surface material from Earth's crust. Damage. Corrosion. Weathering. In many countries, poor farming methods have contributed to increased soil erosion. Backlash. A strong negative reaction by a large number of people. Reaction. After effect. Chain reaction. The government is facing an angry backlash from voters over the new tax policy. Leverage. Refers to the ability to generate profit. Support. Strength. Advantage. Big companies can leverage a very small investment into millions of dollars. Demography. The statistical study of human populations. Statistics. Population size. Population tally. Internet users are usually segmented on the basis of geography and demography. Astronomer. A scientist who studies the objects in the sky. Astrophysicist. Astrologist. Cosmologist. Important meetings of professional and amateur astronomers were hosted by the media. Obituary. A notice of a death, especially in a newspaper. Death notice. Funereal. Memorial. Summarizing his amazing life, Muhammad Ali's obituary was plastered in the newspaper. Treasury. The department that controls public money. Depository. Exchequer. Register. It is known that no department can spend money without Treasury authorization. Eyewitness. A person who has seen something happen. Spectator. Onlooker. Observer. The journalist continued working on child abuse, adding documents and eyewitness testimony. Bulletin. A short official statement or broadcast summary of news. Report. Announcement. Notice. Sometimes the media interrupt programs to bring an important news bulletin.